Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi Tush from Middle-earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her post-birthday, post-end-of-vacation era.
Not post-smog era, mid-smog era.
Post-Smaug
Visitation era. Settle
Visitation.
down. Patty gets visitation rights. Conjugal visits, no.
Oh, well.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and patties of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and as many chubby bunnies as you can fit into your mouth. Diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Dearest listeners, Tasha's notes still are notating, so we must close the loop on season 4. First impressions. Overall, there's a long list to go. We still have so much of the side stories to discuss. Lots and lots and lots of side. While they were better infiltrated into the season this time, they still were plenty.
It is the side stories that never end. They go on and on again, because I don't know how to stop.
Well, and there's just, they really did fit into the story better, so you don't realize how many there are till you start writing them down.
But honestly, this is what I'm saying, even if you do not like the main couple of Bridgerton, there is, and I love Benovi, so that's not what I'm saying here. Don't
if you're not into Benedict and Sophie, you can pretend that this was the Violet Lord Anderson season.
Yes.
Right?
Or as many would like to point out, it is the
Francesca. The Francesca show.
Oh my God, why do I so desperately want them to redo the intro of Friends, but with the Bridgertons? Because they really are kind of like best friends, except hopefully ones that don't incestuously get together.
Or like the Brady Bunch with the squares. That would be funny. Could you imagine?
Yes.
That would be so funny.
I'm sure AI could do it to remake,
And technically with 9 squares, you would have Violet up where Mrs. Brady is looking around at her kids, and all the other squares would be her kids.
That'd be
you'd have the Bridgerton bros on one side, the older sisters on the other side, and then Hyacinth and Gregory in the center.
Yes. All right.
Underneath that would, I gotta figure that out now.
Let's jump into the news of the snacks.
Well, pod snacks. It's pod snackety snack.
Tosh has no pod snacks because her tummy wummy is sad soaker stomach.
Sad soaker tummy. I am eating a snack. Part of my birthday gift from Smaug was a trip to Mally's Chocolates. Mally's is an Ohio company. I love Mally's peanut butter cups, but they were sadly out. So I've got a little basket of other Mally's treats. And this is one I expressly asked for because I thought it was cute that it was called a chubby bunny. And it is an Easter bunny. A little Easter bunny that is seriously twice as thick as your standard chocolate Easter bunny.
That is a game in America, isn't it? Chubby bunny, where you shove marshmallows into your mouth and see how many you can shove in and say chubby bunny.
Yeah, say things, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the game is called Chubby Bunny. And so that's why when you said you had a chubby bunny chocolate, I was like...
They just had that in an episode of Shrinking.
Oh, so shove the whole chocolate in and do the deep diving. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did a 20-kilometer walk/run yesterday. When I say run, I mean there might have been 1 kilometer run, 19 kilometers of walking.
She means lumbering.
Yesterday. And I treated myself to scrambled eggs and mushrooms on toast afterwards, forgetting to ask the staff not to put cream in my eggs. And they were phenomenally delicious, especially after that many kilometers. But my stomach says, no, thank you. I reject you. I don't choose
We
you,
reject
Pikachu.
Cream of all sorts. No more cream, please.
Gallbladder says, no, thank you. So I'm down Struggle Town the last day. I love how everyone's like, I love that your muscles aren't even sore at your stomach that you're complaining about.
Right? I mean, that says a lot about all your walking you've been doing. Like
I
you've
mean, like
trained your muscles.
if I lift my up onto my tippy toes, like I can definitely feel my like muscles are like, hey, you did a thing. But otherwise, they're feeling pretty good. Like I'll probably just keep to
Yeah.
like a 2 kilometers a day and like at a leisurely pace. I
Yeah.
might do
Meander
4.
today. Just
Yeah.
meander.
But it is going to be like a chill day after I did just shy of 30,000, 28,000. I was done.
Weirdo.
I was done.
Okay.
The things that
So
we do to look good
let's
in a corset, right?
not me. And the person who loves me better than anyone gave me a basket of chocolate for my birthday. Oh, what is so Bridgerton news. We have a few things. Like the season has wound down. So some of this has been there. I just discovered it recently. So in that vein, I just want to point out, like, we talked a few Bridgerton newses ago about these questionnaires because they advertised a couple for like,
Mhm.
Benofi and Francesca and whatnot. But I found Bridgerton questionnaires on Lorne McDonald and James Foon as our Featherington fellas and found their answers were pretty funny. Like Lorne McDonald does not like cheese, not as much as our Finchy.
That is wild to me.
He's like, what? And
I feel so
his
lied
exact
to.
quote, his exact quote is, so you eat something savory and then your job is to offer me something else savory? What is wrong with you?
That is my
He wants
heaven.
dessert.
Lorne, like I thought we were kindred spirits over here, and now I come like this is like Love is Blind, and the facade has dropped, and you're not the man I thought you were.
And James said that he's most like his character because they both love a sweet treat.
Oh, I love him. Thank you for being exactly the man we thought you were.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of oh, and Lauren says his favorite thing about Bridgerton is Philippa, or yeah, so Finchy loves his Philippa regardless.
Yeah.
Cute. So yeah, go to Shondaland to find those questionnaires. They're under the Bridgerton tab, all sorts of Bridgerton things. And what led me there was a TikToker talking about an article on the Shondaland website in regards to transitioning Lady Whistledown. And this particular TikToker named Gina is very much a Pollen stan, and I've been following her. Not following necessarily. She pops up a lot. I think I did follow her, but ever since the House of McQueen, because she was amongst those that went like in one of the first rounds of previews, and I think she went several times because she lives in New York.
Yeah.
So she popped up on my For You when we were talking about going. So I've been following her since, and she posted about this article and was I think justifiably incensed for our Miss Penelope in terms of the way this article was written, talking about Penelope being like lesser than the Bridgertons almost, and also vindictive, like she purposely wrote negative things about the Bridgertons, which we all know that's not true.
Yes.
So it was worded. She believes this article was actually written by AI. She states that in her TikTok.
You know what? I have seen so many posts on the main Bridgerton Facebook page that tells me it probably wasn't written by AI and that there are really some people out there that are just that dense a human being.
Well, and I think that the way they write things is they want to make Penelope or Whistledown edgier than it really is. Like Whistledown is edgy, Pen is not edgy. And the reason Whistledown is able to be edgy is because of the writing talent of Penelope Featherington and basically what the TikTok community is saying, because there are other creators that have also jumped on this story. Like they're asking us fans and us content creators to stop talking about it, to not speculate who the new Whistledown is, and to not feed into this whole narrative that Shondaland and Netflix can just change Whistledown and it'll be the same just because they need a narrative tool. When Penelope is Whistledown and they did a whole season, her whole character arc was she didn't realize how much she loved Whistledown and what she was doing with Whistledown until someone tried to take it away from her. And she fought to get it back. She fought for her life's work, quote unquote life's work. And so they basically stole that whole thing. Like her, how she got to where she is gone.
Well,
like
for me,
now we don't know what her reaction's going to be in season 5. So I mean, we'll have to see there. But
for
she
me,
is Whistledown.
For me, I feel like she created a legacy, and as long as the person was willing to, I don't think she would have minded so much if it wasn't Cressida coming out as saying, "This is mine." If someone had just if Cressida had continued to write it and actually did it justice, and she didn't know it was Cressida, I think she would have felt differently about it had she truly chosen to step away from it herself and not being forced away from it, right?
Yeah, there's one thing about not being in control of the situation versus being in control.
Yes.
And I think the only way Penelope and us fans, truthfully, would be able to accept this is if they write it in. You still have time. You haven't even, it's in pre-production. You haven't even started filming yet. You need to write it in that Penelope bequeathed it to someone.
Yeah, I actually feel like this is
Penelope
really
knows who Whistledown is. Penelope told them to do it. She doesn't want to do it anymore, but she allowed them because she chose who her successor was. Kind of like Ann Landers in the US. Ann Landers was around way too long, and Dear Abby, that when the original writers retired, they continued it with other writers, right?
Yes.
Like Whistledown could continue, but I need to know that Penelope sanctioned the replacement.
For me personally, I think, and this kind of the segues into our season 4 episode quite well, because like this was a big part of it, and Penelope a very big part, and Lady Whistledown is a very big part of what the success of Bridgerton is, because it's a very heightened version of Gossip Girl, but less teenage drama, more real, not real life, but you know what I mean? Like there is a lot that we can relate to in Bridgerton, no matter what your age is, because we have characters every age spanning from the Hyacinth.
Not even just age. I mean, Bridgerton has managed to resonate and include so many different factions or areas of humanity that pretty much anyone can sit down and watch Bridgerton and find themselves in it somewhere.
Well, what I was kind of meaning is like Gossip Girl is obviously very much targeted at a certain age demographic.
Yes.
But for the likes of Bridgerton, we have Gregory and Hyacinth going through their first crush, you know, as coming into their interested in the in their they're coming
figuring
into
themselves out.
Figuring themselves. I'm like, how do I word this? Because I don't want to ever say, you know, now aware of the opposite sex, because that's, you know, the saying that they used to, but it's no longer they're coming into an age where they're aware of her mortality. Jesus, I know words today. Gregory and Hyacinth are coming into an age where they are
adulthood
is
appealing.
Looming. Yeah, adulthood is looming. They're becoming interested in growing up, into the marriage mart, into dabbling in dancing with other people and all those kinds of things. And then you've got the next generation up. Well, not same generation, but next age bracket up of getting married off, finding your significant other, no matter your age, because we've got Lady Tilly, who's, you know, in her widowed era. You've got even Portia in season 2 discovering what it is to be wanted for the first time. We've got
being in her cougar era.
Yeah, and then we've got, you know, even Lady Danbury in Queen Charlotte, where we saw her in her widow era, in her cougar era, in her sleeping with the staff era. We've got Violet, who is learning second chances exist. Well, maybe.
Life beyond motherhood era.
Life beyond motherhood. And so I feel like it really applies to so many. And then we've got Brimsley and Reynolds, which was just the most beautiful story. Upcoming, we've got Francesca and Michaela. We had Benedict and his exploration era. Like, I love that there is something that everyone kind of see themselves and feel that the representation is there. You know, even down to the Hazels and the Lord Remingtons and the Miss Barragan. No, Stowells. Thank you. I was like, Barragan.
And the sleep mask person at the masquerade, which I say that is a visually impaired person.
And we're gonna get Miss Barragan is in there's even more trailers going back to news. We've got more trailers now for the other Miss Bennet sister, and I love the intro for it the other day that was like, you've got to be handsome and intelligent, but what happens if you're born in this era and you're not handsome? And then it shows Miss Barrigan as the other Miss Bennet.
As
and I
Mary
was like,
Bennet, yeah.
This looks so good. I'm so excited to see it.
I know this is Pride and Prejudice's version of the Wallflower season.
Yes. Yes. So, Miss Barrigan, we give you your flowers. We are very excited to see what you with the role. Just from the trailers alone, it's already looking phenomenal. I'm so excited that we're getting so much Regency era. I mean, Wuthering Heights was not quite. It was inspired.
Did you see it?
No, but I've seen so many like.
I've not seen nothing, and I'm not sad about it.
Really, I cannot.
I've seen reactions to it, but I've not seen any parts of it.
I'm Australian. I've got to go rep my Australian actor and actress. Yeah, both Australian. But regardless.
I mean, Margot Robbie, who I love Margot Robbie, but Margot Robbie and Wuthering Heights,
Jacob,
and Wuthering Heights of all Regency period books is probably my least favorite because they were both very toxic with each other. So I don't know. I would just be like, I was worried they were going to kind of give it the Persuasion treatment, like how Netflix did Persuasion dirty.
Yes.
So I'm kind of scared to see it. I'll wait for it to come out on streaming.
I don't know how in Persuasion they somehow made my favorite character be a terrible being. What's his name? The one that was like trying to marry her originally, and then he ended up with
Wentworth.
Yeah. What's it that?
I don't know. I watched it once.
I really like the actor. Yeah, not Wentworth. Second, Henry Golding, Mr. Elliot. I absolutely adore Henry Golding. He's the guy from Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
Love him as an actor. So, yeah. I digress. I'm loving all the Regency coming out. We've got Wuthering Heights. We've got a new Pride and Prejudice. We've got the other Bennet sister. Anything else in the Regency era?
No, but it is definitely having a renaissance. I saw an article recently where they were saying is 2026 the 1995 of Regency again, because in 95, 96 we had.
Pretty please, for the love of God, remake Romeo and Juliet in a way that I find palatable, because Gangsters of New York,
I loved that version.
I've honestly put it on 6 times, like probably more than 6 at this point, and I tolerate maybe 30 minutes of it. I get to the shootout it's probably not even 30 minutes in. It's probably 10 minutes in.
When Mercutio dies.
Not long after that, like maybe like a few minutes past that. And I'm like, you know what? I can't do this. Like, they sound like buffoons. Just the way that they speak to each other, it's just not nice. And I don't like it. And I turn it off every time.
Well, that's the point. These two families don't like each other. And the way English verbiage is like you say something negative, but it doesn't quite totally sound negative. So you kind of just sound petulant.
Yes.
And that's why the gang thing worked, because, it was a commentary on gangs at the time and how fights started over stupid shit.
But I couldn't marry the American gangster to the Romeo and Juliet kind of era. My brain just
Baz Luhrmann. That was edgy and interesting and new.
Please it
was the birth.
Make it better.
It was during the birth of the independent film. So, I mean, would I like a remake of Romeo and Juliet? Yes. Would I like it to be modernized? But you'd have to figure out a way, like, they couldn't necessarily kill themselves. I don't think that would. They'd have to figure something
Wuthering
else
Heights,
out.
apparently she doesn't die in it. Alert, sorry.
Really?
Apparently it's only.
Then how do they have her haunt him? Because in the book, he feels like she's haunting him.
It's only the first act
She's
or something.
Haunting
they
the
stop
house.
it before that, apparently.
Oh.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know. But I Googled and was like, does she die? And they said they changed it up or something.
When it comes out on streaming, I'll let you know, because that's when I'll watch.
I don't know. I mean, I could be completely wrong. So it's not even a spoiler alert, because I don't know. I haven't seen it.
And then the last tidbit of Bridgerton news that we have, I expected this. Not because season 4 isn't good, it is, but Colin and Penelope have a following. And even though season 1 has the most views, and obviously,
because we were in lockdown.
We were in lockdown, yes. Simon and Daphne have their fans. Canthony have their fans.
I mean, Simon and Daphne is not comparable, because we were literally starved for the universe. And that was like giving drug addicts like the most top-notch drug you could ever possibly imagine while they are in a locked Ward starved. Like, we had
Well, and
nothing to
not even
do.
just that, but they did the best thing they could by putting Johnny Bailey's butt in the first couple of scenes, because most people, especially my age, and I love Regency, but when you think of watching that type of show, you think of book reports. You think of high school English, where they had you
They were
read the book,
differentiating each other
you suffer,
themselves.
you suffered through the book, and then you watch the movie. And for most people, it's boring because it's
Yeah.
linked to English and book adaptations. And then they put this on that there are people out there who don't even know that they're adapted from books.
Yeah.
And you see Regency, and it's supposed to be stuffy and high collars and everything else, and then you see them doing it in a park. Like, I think that struck everyone, just like the gangs in Romeo and Juliet and Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Like, it was interesting and different, and so a lot of people watched it. But Colin
Yes.
and Penn have a following. They have a cult following. And
Yes.
we purposely launched a campaign to keep people viewing through the 91 days, right? Like, we were weekly, like, this is where the numbers are. Let's keep watching.
Yeah.
We wanted them to beat the other two seasons. And I don't think Benedict and Sophie have that kind of following. But I also think that there was so many things that didn't work in season 3. Again, showrunners' first foray into show running, that some people didn't come back for season 4. And a lot of us, it's season 4 is not as consumable. It's not a buffet like season 3 was.
I also
right?
think that we're in a very particular political climate right now where we are, a lot of people in some demographic areas are being told it's okay to be closed-minded. And so a lot of people have not come back because of
that too.
So,
but it's not getting rewatched like season 3. Like, they're not that far behind. I know it's millions, but 5 million views at this point is not that far behind where season 3 was. But industry insiders, the data analysts, have looked at the average decay rate, which is how views peter off as each week happens, and they're saying that season 4 will not even hit the all-time top 10 by its 91st day. So that and does that say that season 3 was better than season 4? I would say, in terms of editing and writing and things like that, no. Season 4 does, in some areas, has some problematic writing. I don't think they did a good job with the passage of time, which Bridgerton has struggled with since season 2, really.
I think they did an okay job of passage of time. I think that they just didn't make it blatantly obvious for the casual viewer.
Because most people still think it all occurred in one season.
Yes.
Which it didn't, which I haven't published that video where we analyzed the timing of the wedding yet, but it definitely could not have been one season. And some written lines give you that impact, but then other written lines, i.e. Queen Charlotte, but I think she's frozen in time. I think her theme being frozen in time means she's going to act like each season is all one season, right?
It's not even frozen in time. It's wrapped.
Yeah. So I think there's some writing mistake, like not mistakes, but ambiguities in season 4. But season 3 had a lot of very lazy, poor writing.
Yeah, like, well, we suspect that they use AI.
Yes. So I'm not saying like season 4 is not as good as season 3 or whatever. It just doesn't have
the same emotional impact
on the viewers that season 3 had. And season 3 really, I mean, you cannot count out Colin and Penelope fans. Like, how up in arms Colin fans are getting over the Lady Whistledown business. Like, we are, our justice hackles are up for Penelope. We're passionate about it. Like, so I think it's interesting. If you are a Benofi fan, if you are a Bridgerton fan and just want to see it in the all-time top 10, you need to up your views, guys, because do I want it to beat season 3? No, season 3 is my jam. But we may not get a chance to see Hyacinth or Gregory seasons if we don't get the views up.
Because I view season 3 as peak Bridgerton. A lot of people are season 1, obviously. And I can understand that, because I kind of feel the same way about Harry Potter. Nothing for me will ever beat The Philosopher's Stone, because it was the first thing that introduced me to it. So it's kind of hard to ever beat that initial nostalgia that introduced you to the universe of. Season 2, I love Kate. Kate is probably one of my absolute
Mhm.
all-time favorite characters of Bridgerton, but
And she just gets better with age.
yes, she does. My qualm with
Season 4, Kate, mwah.
Chef's kiss. My qualm with season 2 was that they changed so much of the storyline from the book that took away the essence of the character of their love story. Her,
Mhm.
her fear and her PTSD from her childhood. Benedict's no. Anthony's PTSD from losing his father and being thrust to
Mhm.
being a lord at such a young age. And without that, it just kind of made him come off as a bit of a jerk and her micromanaging, a little bit. Without giving the backstory of why she was like that. I still think
Yeah,
it's
and
a beautiful love story.
I'm gonna give it a Tyler Perry reference. She kind of came off. They played her off as like mad black woman in a way, like she is
She was trying to channel her inner Danbury.
overly assertive. Yeah,
She was
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
channel her inner Danbury, but we saw the backstory of why Danbury is the way she is. We saw the backstory of why Queen
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte is the way that she is, but they're not going to give us her backstory of of watch her mum die, of the lightning storms, of the struggles of her having to raise her younger sister to be what she could never be
Yeah,
because
honestly,
she would never
after
be
seeing
her.
season 4, yeah, after seeing season 4 and seeing Benedict go through all the things with the solicitor in
Yeah.
regards to closing out an estate and getting everything worked out, Kate did that.
Kate did all of that. So, okay, while we're on that note, let's talk Kate and Anthony, and because
Let's make haste. Let's have the
I
transition.
I've given up on making haste. I don't even add that transition anymore because it's always in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and I just forget to be honest. I don't forget. It's just we don't have we just tangent so much that there's no clear transition. But season 4, Kate and Anthony, and season 3, Kate and Anthony, I feel like, although yes, I do definitely agree with not loving the storyline of them just dumping their responsibility. I think that at the same time, they are very well aware that the family are up to the challenge and that they can work as a family unit the way that humans are supposed to work as a tribe. And the Bridgertons are absolutely a tribe and not alone. Like
Yes.
every person has their role, but if that, like, let's say, there is a leader of a tribe, but if they get hurt or whatever, they have other people that can step in. It's not just all on one person's shoulders. And I think that that's what Kate is trying to teach Anthony, is that he can rely on his tribe and they are showing up for him and doing a fantastic job at it too. Like, as much as Benedict is a philanderer and whatnot, like, he's still doing what he needs to for his family.
Well, he gets to the point where he's doing bare minimum because he's tired of doing it, but
Yeah.
he's still getting it done. Anthony had no complaints, right? Aside from, hey, you've been drawing this woman in my ledger. But yeah, he's been doing the work.
Benedict Bake. Love heart, love heart.
Yeah, like I could see Benedict signing her last name, like,
Yeah.
or he's writing Sophie Bridgerton.
So
LOML.
yes, love of my
Love
life.
of my life.
Oh no, because LOML is now one of my favorite type songs of all time, which is "Loss of My Life."
LL, same.
Yeah, but
It would
that
be
was
the
the play
same
on
thing either
words.
way.
Because she says
Yeah.
you told me I was the love of your life, but you were the loss.
So
of my
he
life.
writes Lady in Silver, LOML. Sophie Bridgerton, LOML.
and Anthony's like, what are all these acronyms? What is happening right now? What is this code? Does it mean something? But no, I actually think that
What are we investing in now, Benedict? I just need to know.
what are these Lady in Silver stocks? Did you buy silver? That's actually very smart, brother. Silver is coming up in great value. Good job. And he's like, oh,
okay.
I think that they've given Kate and Anthony and even Colin and Penelope the treatment that they kind of deserved in their own seasons, where they're like, you know what, we gave them so much angst in their own seasons that we need them to be their happy hour. Do we wish that we got a little bit more Anthony and Kate of season 2, where we saw them doing ledgers together, we saw them working as a team? I loved that aspect of 2, and then they kind of season 3, they kind of just threw it away to say, oh, they're going off to India, they're doing this and that, but they're completely abandoning any sort of responsibility. But they did the same to Colin and Penelope. I understand that it's no longer their season, but they're still main characters, and I don't understand why they didn't give them the responsibility of now running the household. I would have been absolutely fine with it if they shared the responsibility and we saw Portia, Penelope, and Colin sitting down. Okay, Portia, this is what we need to do. This is the work for the week. This is what we're looking at investing in. Do you agree that this is a good investment? Like, I would have been completely fine if it was a team effort and not Portia just doing as Portia does and us showing no changes
And we
being
don't
made.
see that transition where Portia allows Varley to go. We don't see Penelope and Portia have a conversation at all, or even Colin be involved at all. And now Ray is the housekeeper. And Portia and Penelope are kind of quipping about Ray being, and Portia's like, your housekeeper isn't as good as Varley or whatever. You've got to train her up and all this stuff. It's like, why was Varley in charge if Penelope and Colin were handling things? Why was Portia making the financial decisions if now Penelope just has Ray in place? Do you know what I mean? Like, none of that makes any sense.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a fumble. I do think that Penelope and Colin deserved better in that regard. They
I'm not
should
going to
have.
say though, I did like seeing Ray's. I'm glad we got
I
Ray
didn't
in this
actually
season.
because they made her fumble the ball so hard and make her look incompetent to make obviously the Varley
She became a
storyline.
butt of a joke and I didn't like it.
Yeah, so I wish that they showed us in the end Varley and Ray working like seamlessly together as Penelope and should be and Colin together.
What I would have loved is Ray still running point so that Colin and Penn can have time alone. Like, you see her steering Portia away from the drawing room when she knows they're in there canoodling or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, Mrs. Featherington, we need to go over, the dinner for tonight. Let's go this way. Like, I would have
Mm-hmm.
loved that because that was Ray's wheelhouse, was allowing Colin and Penn to get together alone. That
Yeah.
would have been a nice homage.
Speaking of the help, let's discuss Hazel, Alfie, and Irma, our absolute dream team. So Hazel was the later addition, but Alfie and Irma are I absolutely adore them as the dream team. Like, Irma surprised me a little bit because we always see the help, the house and whatnot, be always very much in the head of the household's corner. Like, they are there to serve them and them first and foremost, and then, the children and whatnot after the fact. But Irma acts very much as a pseudo mother to Sophie, which I think is beautiful. And I think it's also why she gets along with.
But Irma was there when Sophie was treated as a member of the household and not a servant. And I think that's what makes that, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that her kindness and the way that Irma treats her also resonates with the way that Lady Bridgerton immediately treats her. And I think that's why she kind of kicks Benedict out of his own house, because I think she's like, this is the first time that I felt home again since being removed from my own home. And I think that was not fair, but it was her trauma speaking of being taken away from the only family that she'd ever known.
And they never say this is like a theme of this season, but I do love this theme because Sophie didn't get to choose her family. None of us do,
Chosen
right?
family, yeah.
We're born into our family, but she still had a family that she chose, that chose her. Even if her father didn't recognize her as one of his own, aside from in his will, and only as his ward, and Lady Penwood didn't recognize her at all and allow her to be sisters with her daughters, Irma and Alfie and Hazel became her family. And then you can see Mrs. Wilson and Footman John welcoming her in the Bridgerton home. Like, she's creating her own family, and people are choosing her, even if her biological father and the family she spent the whole time feeling like she should have been a part of this one family when she was surrounded by family of her own making already.
So I love that she got the family that she deserves, both in the help like both in Alfie and Irma, the
Upstairs and
Crabtrees.
downstairs.
Yeah, the Crabtrees and Mrs. Wilson, Footman John. Like, and I think that she will perfectly marry between the two worlds. And I mean, the Bridgertons already treat the staff probably the best in the entirety of the town. Like, I
Yeah.
can't imagine another household that is kinder to the staff than what because when I say kinder, I mean both emotionally
That
and
we've actually
financially.
seen, because Danbury says she treats her staff well. She's not worried about losing any of her staff because she treats them with
No,
respect
no, no.
and she pays them
What
well.
I
But
mean
we don't
is,
ever see that aside with Coral.
what I mean is I think that Violet treats the staff both emotionally and financially the best because she is both kind, thoughtful, and in a financial position to pay her staff what they are worth. And that's why, like,
Right.
when
And
people
I'm
get
saying,
positions there, that they're never leaving.
well, and right. And I'm agreeing with you. All I'm saying is we actually see that on camera with her, where all we get from Danbury is what she tells the queen, that she does the same thing. We don't actually get to see it because we haven't seen that much into her
Yeah,
house
but I thought
except with
about it.
Coral.
But Danbury is a lot more sterner person. So I
True.
think outside of her, like she will treat them all cordially. She will be very professional and everything with them, but doesn't necessarily mean that she'll be understanding if they want to take a day off for a child's birth or, you know, she's a little bit more stern because we even saw it with her children. She didn't necessarily treat her children with any sort of maternal instinct, whereas Violet does. She understands humans are humans and treats them as such no matter what their role in society.
She treats Footman John like one of her
Well, her
sons.
children.
We
Yeah.
know.
Yes. Yes.
Get
So
my
that was my
carriage.
distinction there. Well, speaking of Violet being a mother, let's talk about Violet herself because that has been actually one of the biggest points of contention this season. Oh, I have some feelings about it. Both good and bad. I understand, but I'm also excited to see where it goes because I feel like this is all being set up for a side stories with Violet.
I agree. I think they're setting up for a spin-off, series just like Queen Charlotte. And we now know Penelope's writing her novel, so I do hope that our wish, like how we created that whole spin-off in our heads, in our imaginations, I hope that's exactly how it plays out, that as Penelope writes The Wallflower, we watch Violet's story happen.
But
I still think she's probably will end up with Lord Anderson because fans love that character.
yes.
Even
his act, like Daniel Francis is an absolute king, and anytime there is any sort of interview, like he's just so in love with Ruth Gemmell as a person as well, like in a platonic good relationship with your coworker kind of way. Like he really respects
it's like
her
Lorne
and loves
MacDonald
working
and
with her.
Harriet Kane.
Yeah, like
really is.
The fact that they are just so perfect on and off screen as like friends and respect for each other as co-workers and everything like that. I can't imagine that it is going to play out the way that people are sort of expecting it to, of him kind of being a cad or, a financial seeker. What do they call it? A financial seeker, a
gold digger.
You know my words.
Ain't saying he's a gold digger.
Saying he's a gold digger. I really hope that they are endgame, but I also hope that she gets the time to discover what she wants to without losing him.
Right. And I agree there. I think they're going to be in game, but I think that this was done this way for two reasons this season. One, plot device. We have Benedict, who is a rake, who the big deal is the best he can do is make Sophie his mistress. She doesn't want to be a mistress. We see another lord with a mistress and how they're treated and how you can't marry them. And ultimately, by her taking back the engagement, she has ultimately put Lord Anderson in that same position. He is her mistress. So there's that
worse situation because they were engaged and then she rescinded that.
Rescinded. Thank you. I keep trying to think of the word. But yeah, so I think that was created as a plot device or a conversation device to get us talking. Like, does it look the same if a woman does it? Do we feel it's the same? And honestly, people were angry with Benedict for asking if she would be his mistress. Like, oh my gosh, you're making her a secret. Da, 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 da. But people are lambasting Violet for turning him down after accepting, kind of thing. Like, it really is almost worse when a woman does it, always.
If she had just slept with him and then decided, hey, I thought I was ready, but I'm not. Although I do like you and I respect you and I have feelings and whatever, but I want to learn to love myself again, I would have felt differently about it. But the fact that she accepted a proposal from him and then, oh, I'm not ready. Oh, my daughter. And it was the fact that once again, she failed to healthily communicate her wants and needs. She hid behind excuses. And that's where the issue lies. Benedict didn't hide behind excuses per se. This is the situation of the time.
He felt he was forced through societal norms.
He felt he was forced through societal norms, whereas Violet was giving mixed messages. And that is where a lot of women who, we have fuckboys of the 2026, of the 2020, it's been around forever, but these boys, and like you see all these memes on the internet of like dating 100 years ago. And it was you meet cute, you get engaged, you get married, you have kids. And now it's you meet, you talk, you date, you meet, you go back to talking. Oh, but I might want to date you. I don't want to lose you. And it's just keeping people on the hook,
Right.
The maybes, the what ifs. And I love.
And that plays into my second reason why I think they did it, because Violet from this point on is a complete 180 from the book. Like, book Violet no longer exists. What they're doing now with Violet is not in the book at all. And it really is like, what is a woman if not a wife and a mother? And I mean, she'll always be a mother because her kids are there, but they're all almost old enough where they don't need a mother, and she gets to focus on herself again. And she grew up in a time where she had to follow societal rules, but she raised her kids to think for themselves, much like her father raised her to think for herself. He didn't want her to conform necessarily, but we don't know when he passed and who passed first, him or her mother. But she was lucky because she got love, right? She got Edmund. So she was lucky following the rules, but now she's watching her kids do these things, making what would be considered mistakes, but they're finding love, they're finding happiness and allowing themselves to be their true selves. And she realizes, in following society, in being a wife to Edmund, in being a mother to her children in this society, she has lost a large piece of herself, and she wants to get to know who she is again before she ends up pouring herself into another relationship and another man. I understand that. And I think it's a great thing to depict on camera in the day and age where there is a fear of independent women. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think this is actually just another plot device to further prove that it is Eloise's season next, because here is a woman saying, I don't want to just be a wife and a mother. I want to know who I am outside of that. And then we've got Eloise, who is like, I don't want to get married because I am afraid of only ever being a wife and mother. Not that she doesn't love her mum and love who she is and all those kinds of things, but I think she can see how her mother has lost herself in that, where that is her entire life now. Like, we don't see her doing anything else. I mean, meeting up with Lady Danbury, but that's only probably a once a week kind of an affair for an hour or two here or there, not, it's not the majority of her life. And so I think that was another plot device to say that it is going to be Eloise's season. But do I think, I love, so I don't know if you've watched the new Love is Blind Ohio season 10 version.
I would have to watch seasons 1 through 9 first.
Well, this one's set in Ohio.
I don't do reality, so
it's
not reality.
It's one of my guilty pleasures, to be honest. It's probably the only other thing I've watched this year outside of and one of my favorite lines came from it. I will not date potential anymore. And I'm like, pop off, Lord Anderson. I will not wait, because there was a lot of people who are saying, oh, he's being so impatient, or he was understanding till he wasn't. Her daughter's going through this major thing and he's not being understanding or patient. And it's like, actually, no, if you look at the passage of time,
how long is he supposed to wait, though?
Incredibly patient. Back in these times, you would be engaged and married within at most a year of, and when I say at most, I'm saying because of all the extenuating circumstances, a year would be understandable. Yes, but
yeah, I think audience perception though is because they struggled with having enough clues about the passage of time, because we have to understand that at this point where she breaks off
3 years.
3 years at this point. It's 3 years.
So like, this man has been incredibly patient, and I absolutely understand the I will not date potential anymore, because that's exactly what he's saying, in much kinder words than she probably needed. He was saying, look, I understand that you need to go do you, but I also need to do me. And I told you from the start that I was looking for a second chance at love. I outlined perfectly using my clear words, Violet.
He was
I
very
want a
clear.
second chance at love, not I want a fuck buddy, not I want to be your mistress, not I want to be your occasional when you're in the mood for it kind of dirty little secret. It was I want to
Hmm.
be your person. I want you to be my person. Like, and we like, would you ever shame a woman for being like, hey, I don't want to be your mistress. I want it to be real or not at all. Or would you call them impatient? No. You know how many women out there have sat there and waited on a potential,
Well, and
waited and
here's what
waited and
I'm going to
waited.
say. Here's what I'm going to say for the audience, and this is why we have so many psychology social media influencers, because here's the thing: this conversation was not toxic on either side.
No, they both stated
The
their needs and their
people watching it,
boundaries.
and they're both going to come away like, will Violet be hurt that he's not waiting? Sure. That doesn't make him toxic. She has stuff she wants to work on, and he has clear intentions of what he wants to. The timing isn't right.
Yes.
It's all about timing here.
The
Their
only
timing could work later,
The only
but
thing that
right
would
now
be
it doesn't.
toxic was if he then goes to then move on and she's like, oh, no, 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 but wait for me. That would be then be toxic. Yes. But she's saying, I need to do me right now. And he's saying,
Another friend's reference. What would be toxic is if he walked out of that house after she just broke it off because she needed time, and he
they were on a
met up
break.
with Portia.
They were on a
Yeah,
break.
they met up with Portia, and then she gets mad, and he's like, "But we were on a break," and she's like, "We were not on a break."
You know what? Controversial opinion here. I'm with Ross on this one. You were on a break.
Yes, I am also at the time it aired. We've talked about this before
We
on the pod.
we just watched half of our followers drop.
No, we've already talked about it on the pod, and we're still growing. At the time I watched it, I was very much team Rachel, but I was a
Yes.
very young 20
Yeah.
something, actually I was still
Yeah.
a teenager when this aired.
Hindsight's
Almost 20.
2020. Yeah.
But now I'm very much Ross. Like, you can't say we're done, we're on a break, and then get mad about whatever happens during that time, because the other person has autonomy. They get to choose how they grieve you. So
Okay.
sorry, Rachel.
Let's now talk about Lady Danbury choosing herself.
I think Lady Danbury's always been true to herself. She just didn't want anything outside of the Queen before. And I think that was her biggest struggle this season. Was I don't think she thought the Queen would hold her in place. You know what I mean? And she
Yeah.
thought her friendship was stronger than it actually turned out to be at the time.
No, I think their friendship is exactly as strong as she thought it was. She just thought that the Queen would be more accepting of it than what she was. The Queen does not truly think like those things were absolutely coming from a place of hurt and not from a place of
Oh, yeah.
honesty.
But yes, they came from a place of hurt because she still had some healing to do, and their friendship is stronger for it at the end, because honestly, you do have to let people go so that they can come back to you, so that you can see they are your friend, they are safe and whatnot. The Queen trying to keep her, that was not friendship. Like, they've had the appearance of friendship. They are very close. They know each other. I think this season, much like season 3, we watched Penn and Eloise go from friendship of proximity to friendship of an actual sisterhood, like actual closeness. We are friends because we want to be. And we're seeing the same thing with Danbury and the Queen this season, where they're friends out of necessity for both of them, but by the end, they're friends because they choose to be. So their friendship grew. Because sometimes we are friends with somebody out of an ulterior motive, and Danbury's ulterior motive was the power of being close to the Queen. The Queen's ulterior motive was having this connection to her people, and someone who could advise her, who did talk straight with her, that she didn't get anywhere else. Like, they both had this, it was more of a kind of like work besties, professional relationship that they have now cultivated. They were friends out of necessity. She was a lady in waiting, and she proved herself to be useful.
I've never ever seen their relationship that way. The way that I kind of view it was they came together out of necessity, because of their skin tone that they were like, well, you're both black, so clearly friends, right? That
But
was
not just that. They both needed each other in
no,
other
no.
ways too.
Augusta, where she
Oh,
replaced all
yeah,
the previous.
true. She put them together for that reason. I see
She
what you're saying.
specifically chose a black collection of ladies, a ladies in waiting, because she believed that that Queen Charlotte, as part of the Great Experiment, had to have like for like surrounding her. And even though it was done as a plot point, I actually think that it worked out beautifully because Charlotte had been brought from another country where she did not know what the political climate was like in this country, whereas Lady Danbury, having come from Sierra Leone but had spent majority of her life here, had seen the worst of the political climate through her husband and what it could do. And she gave the Queen the reality check of what that was like and why the Great Experiment was so needed and the power that she held. And she kind of gave, she was the reality check for Queen Charlotte quite frequently. And I think that was a true friendship. I don't think that she was ever.
I'm not saying it wasn't a true friendship. I'm saying that it wasn't. There's how we enter a friendship. There always gets to that point where you finally choose it. Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
we every friendship we get into, like you and I, we started being friends because of Bridgerton. We started doing this podcast together saying, we are friends, but our connection was Bridgerton.
Yeah.
But here we are years later and we're friends because we chose to be.
Yes.
Because, you tell me
like
your son is sick and you're going to do this walking thing. And, I tell you about what's going on in my life and my job and Smaug and whatever. Like we have chosen to be friends. And I think every relationship, friendship, courtship, whatever, they make those choices at some point. And this was the season for Danbury and the Queen to acknowledge that their relationship of mutual convenience, that their friendship, they have called a friendship all these years, but has this undertone of I need you and you need me, finally gets to grow into openly stated. It's almost like, because it's in season 4 and it fits, because Benedict loves her, but he can't openly state it because it's not a fun, right? Like the power dynamic. So they can't openly state their friendship because of the power dynamic, and then they finally do.
If they had the king die off and those two chose each other in the end, I would live for that ending, actually.
I would have loved that more than Fran and Michaela.
Oh my lord. Like if I got to see those two being endgame and being like...
That's a same-sex relationship I'd be down for in Bridgerton all day.
Because we've seen the relationship build and the fact that Lady Danbury is the only one who actually holds her accountable and treats her like a real person like George did. I would love that, actually. Please.
Bridgerton, mark it in your book.
And remind me, Golda is actually married to a woman? Yeah, it works. It works. I would actually love that. Please, I mean, keep Francesca, Michaela, that's fine. But like,
you have to at this point.
Yeah. But like this love story, I would die for. And especially because then it would play in with the Brimsley and Reynolds. And she's like, and because he would be the one, like, making the dalliances work. And then she's like, why are you so okay with doing this for me? And he's like, well, actually, like, I've been in love with Reynolds. And then they get to be together and then it would be so cute. It works. Make it happen. Make it make sense. Make it happen.
If you're keeping her alive, the Queen is officially non-canon Queen now too. Like she's not in the books, most of the books. So you've created her from scratch in history, and now she's not even following the historical precedent. So you can have her be in love with Lady Danbury by the end of this. You can do whatever you want, Bridgerton, whatever you want. Except quit messing with Colin and Penelope.
So I would love to see that happen, actually. And I think that the Queen, she struggles to let go of Lady Danbury because she's so trapped in her little box that she's like, if I let her go, she's never going to come back to me. And so like to let the one piece of her go that she gets to be herself. She gets to be Charlotte, not Queen Charlotte, the last person she gets to just be Charlotte with. That's really scary. And as much as we kind of do judge her for it, like
she does have a different relationship with Brimsley, so it's not quite the same. And I think if Brimsley wanted to leave, she'd be like Ixnay with a hell no too. But you got to remember that Lady Danbury was part of her life when George was healthy. Yeah. So losing Danbury is losing more of George as well.
Yeah.
Because like my best friend,
I mean, she can attribute how
her
many of her
mom,
kids to George?
yeah,
I mean, to the Queen.
her mom and my mom, my best friend, her mother and my mother were best friends. Her mother passed away first from cancer in the 90s. My mother passed away in 2019 from cancer. She could not come to the funeral. She just couldn't bring herself to do it because that was my mom was her last full-on connection to her mother. So I see that too. Like Danbury and Brimsley are her only connection to the memories and the life she led with George was healthy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about, I mean, let's move on to Queen of Tea. Not Violet.
I was like, we already talked about Violet.
The queen of the gossip tea.
Who, Varley?
Yes, Varley. What do you mean, who, Varley? Yes, Varley.
Yes, Varley.
Yes, Varley.
Which, and I'm throwing this out there because of the article we talked about in Bridgerton
Oh my
News.
God. Why am I now getting Alfie and Varley vibes? Like, yes, Varley.
Varley.
Varley. What's the tea, Varley?
because of the wording of how they described why Penelope as Lady Whistledown worked, and why she doesn't now. Because as a Bridgerton, it's unseemly.
New intro. Instead of pod news, it's what's the tea, Varley?
Yeah. Instead of Bridgerton News, we got to get an AI version of Alfie saying, "What's the tea, Varley?"
This is too good.
I don't know which AI we can feed that into. We got to feed a couple of his lines in, him saying them, and then say, please say this in his voice, and they'll do it. They did that with Colin doing the love confession from the book, season 3. Do you remember that on social media? They AI'd Luke Newton's voice to say the love confession, the end love confession from the book, something like that. Anyways, the writing of this article made it seem like someone actually on their level, like of most of the peerage, could not be Whistledown because they wouldn't be able to be as biting and cutting. And Penelope has softened because she's now a Bridgerton and she has access to the Queen.
Yeah.
So it's unseemly for her to gossip in the same way that she did before. And she believes in the purity of gossip. So that's been a struggle for her as well. So I think that's a clue to us that future Whistledown is someone of lower stature. Remember, Penelope was only the daughter of a baron, and that's the lowest of the peerage.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, and I really do want to see that Penelope bequeathed it, but Varley gets welcomed back into the home and we can have 2 housekeepers. I'm hoping they have it that Penelope allows Varley and Portia to be Whistledown, because I think Portia could still do it. Portia's just as intelligent as Penelope. We don't know if she can write. My whole issue with New Whistledown is they're having the writing be too much like Penn.
I honestly think that would be too biting. She would be cruel.
I think Portia would be too biting, but if we find out, remember in season 3 how Penn kept wanting to edit Colin's books?
Yes.
What if they get the goss and they write it, but Penn's only editing it for publication?
I still kind of am of the belief that it's no one directly tied Penn, because otherwise everyone in her inner circle would be suspected as being, and they will be like,
I still think it's somebody. I think
that's Lady Whistledown's mother. Don't say anything around her. It might get back to Lady Whistledown, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think the only person that really takes things to Whistledown is Colin, because I love the scene with the brothers where he's like, she told Penelope who told me, and Benedict's like, well, it's nice that you and your wife and whatever all know this about me now, kind of thing.
So that was the funniest thing ever about the new episode, the reunion episode of The Love Is Blind, because there was someone who went on a girls' trip. One of the guys went on the girls' trip, and she's like, well, how did you find out about this anyway? And she's like, Amber. And he's like, how did Amber find out about this? And he's like, her husband. And it's like, and how did you find out about this? And he's like, But I love that it just goes through like, okay, you told you, who told you, who told you. And I love the Chinese whispers of it all.
Yeah, the telephone, that's how gossip spreads. And I love that we got to see that.
I think Lady Whistledown was very much a direct quote only, like, what does he call it? First source, second source, like primary source. She'd be a primary source only, not a secondary source. Like, she would only write those things that she'd verified, which is why she refused to write anything that people directly brought her, because they were like, she's like, be fabricated. This could be people vendettering. So she would only primary her
Oh, she
gossip.
said that to Eloise. She felt like that was the case. They were bringing her presence to soften her up, and then they were giving gossip just because they wanted to see the gossip they fed her in Whistledown.
Yes.
They didn't care. They didn't vet it or anything. They
No.
just wanted to say they brought the gossip to her.
Yeah.
And my issue with the Lady Whistledown transition, do I believe they need Lady Whistledown for a narrative plot device? Yes, I do.
I do.
With it, I think they missed an opportunity here because in the books, Penelope uses Hyacinth and Felicity later, like when she's a spinster, because she is, yes, she's on the wall, but she's a chaperone. So she's not among the people as much. And Hyacinth and Felicity are. And I think that they could have still kept Penelope as Lady Whistledown, just having Hyacinth do and the servants do the dirty work and her,
Yes.
you know, like, I mean, they could have, even now, like this could just be a way for her to be anonymous again. But I really don't think she will not be able to gather her own gossip anymore. So she needs a device to gather it.
I must say, I do love the way that they transitioned
and the
her
way they
goodbye.
lambasted her in that article. I really don't think it's her.
No. What I mean is, in when she's looking in the mirror and we see baby Penelope, with her little curl in the mirror saying goodbye to Lady Whistledown. I just about cried in that moment. I was like, that's a really beautiful way to like kind of commemorate the moment. Is like her saying goodbye.
I'm really sure she's done because of that scene too, because she looked back on who she was and why she became Whistledown and how Whistledown has helped her grow. So they're going to, if she were to bequeath Whistledown to someone, which I think Penn would at this, she's going to bequeath it to someone else. Like in the article, they said Whistledown only helps someone who is a lesser stature in society to the people she's writing about. Well, so that opens up all of the servants.
The reason that I still think that it's Hyacinth though is because we saw Hyacinth go in so starry-eyed thinking that the Ton was something that it wasn't. Sort of probably a little bit like Penelope. She's like, oh well, like I've been surrounded by my mum and my sisters my whole life and they're cruel, and now I finally get to go out in the universe and I get to be with other people who might be like Eloise. I could find more Eloises out there and make more friends and expand my horizon, only to find out, oh, my mum is exactly she is an exact representation of the
but wait, because we have to have a different voice to Whistledown if it's a different person, right? Yes. Whistledown has to have a different voice. And we know enough about Bridgerton now that we don't need the naive viewpoint of Penelope, who is fascinated by this world, because that was Hyacinth at the beginning of the season. She's trying to sneak in because she's fascinated with this world and people living their lives.
Disenchanted with it.
We already had that with Penelope. So what if I mean, I'm going along with like, if she's Whistledown, this is how it would play out, and it would be actually really juicy and fantastic if she starts treating Whistledown instead of like a love letter to the Ton, which is how Penelope did it. Like, I love that all you guys are so messy, more of a satire, like calling out your bullshit.
Yeah.
Like Hyacinth does give the goss, but in a way where it's calling out.
Sort of like how Penelope's the article to say about how that one, the one lady's been treated by her husband, that someone's parading their mistress around and embarrassing their wife. It's more like, I'm gonna call out your bullshit. You do better.
Yeah, like, because Hyacinth is a little disenchanted. She wants to find the good in it again. So she starts Whistledown, so Whistledown will report her debut. Yep. But 2, also to try to find the good in society again. And as she's looking for the good, she's calling out and telling people to do better.
Well, now that
I think that would make Whistledown be different enough that there's still, because you got to have a character arc, even though Whistledown, even though we don't see her, and she definitely is a different character than Penelope. Even Penelope talks about her in the third person, right? Mm-hmm. So she is her own character. We have to see a character arc with Whistledown as well. And if they're going to change who's writing it altogether, then the perspective in which Whistledown is written has to change also.
While we're talking about Hyacinth, let's talk about Hyacinth and Eloise's character growth, or growth the sisters together this Eloise, I think, absolutely needed her come to Jesus moment. And I was
Yes.
never expecting it to come from high school, but I'm so glad that it
Well, I don't
did.
know. Every season, and this also kind of tells me Eloise is season 5 because every season, Hyacinth says something very observant and very
Yes.
insightful to the lead, usually about their love
Well,
interest.
yes, and that's why it tells me that
So
she's picked.
Eloise, yeah, I think her calling out Eloise is really what creates Eloise's character growth in her growth season, and she's season 5.
Yes. Yeah, I think Eloise absolutely needed the growth. And I thought that she was going to come back from Scotland having gone through that growth, and to kind of realize that she hadn't was really disappointing. I think that
I
we
thought we were going to get some of Scotland and we didn't. It
yeah.
like having more fertility issues and having her like because we said Eloise has to learn empathy. That is her
Yes.
character growth to get to her season. And she did get a lot of empathy having to go through that whole
I think that's actually
exam and stuff like that.
I think it's why she was the one who went to Scotland so that she could create that closer bond with Francesca so that when she lost John, she would understand the full effect of she was around them the
Well,
most
and
out
they
of all the
are the close.
siblings.
I mean, it's been said by, the executive team, they are the closest siblings to each other.
Yeah.
Like they just are the closest siblings.
Yeah.
And I actually love it. I watched the second half reactions of the cast, like where they react to different scenes. And Luke Newton said it so well where he tells Claudia Jesse, he goes, Eloise really is the sibling who relates to every,
Yeah.
like she is, we all assume it's like, we all talk about it like it's Benedict, but it's actually
Well,
Eloise.
the only sibling we don't really see her interacting one-on-one with at all is Gregory thus far, but that's
But Gregory's her favorite,
he's still
remember, from
young.
season
I know.
3?
It's probably why he's her favorite because she spends the least amount of time with him.
Like I don't have to mother him, so he's good. But the thing is she really has mothered every sibling, related to every sibling, called every sibling out for their best, Benedict and Colin both. And I love her conversation with Hyacinth in this season, where Hyacinth is disenchanted for several very good reasons. But Eloise, Eloise is okay with her choices being her choices, but she understands that that's not a good choice for Hyacinth. Hyacinth is a different person than her. And that is her other
Because
part of her growth.
I think that
because she wanted Penelope was going to be a spinster because we're best friends, and Benedict was going to be a spinster because we're the siblings that are the closest. I call him a spinster, but
when you're
bachelor.
jaded, but you don't want other people to be jaded. Like you're like, this is my lot in life, but I don't want it for others. And I think that was kind of Eloise's spin this season. It was, I don't want to be married and all that because I don't want to be just a wife and a mother. You, on the other hand, have dreamed about that your whole entire life and do not let my preconception of the ton taint yours. And I think she realized that it had tainted.
Yeah, exactly though. That's the point. Because with Penelope, because she wanted to be a spinster, she could only see Penelope must want this also. Yeah. And because she wanted to be unmarried, she thought there was a club of her and Benedict that he was also going to be unmarried. And because she saw things a certain way, she tried to make Cressida see, that Cressida was going down that same path. And she couldn't see what Cressida was going through. And she finally was able to understand that Hyacinth is different, even though she started out the season like, yeah, I'm doing this because I don't want to be in the ton and I'm going to influence you to not want this either, kind of in a way. Now she's like, nah, that's not for you. You're going to be different than me. And that's real growth for her. Part of her empathy journey.
I didn't put it on the list, but I am.
Oh God, the list is getting bigger. No, I'm kidding.
It is. Speaking of Eloise's growth and that, I am so glad that we got the scene that we talked about in season, like in our wish list for season 4, for what we needed was her and Cressida. I mean, do I wish that there had also been such a conversation with Penelope? Yes, but
there was. It just wasn't blatant.
Yes.
Not with Eloise and Penelope. There was with Cressida. I mean, if we can call this the Cressida section.
Yes.
Cressida tried to relate to Penelope and gave an apology and held herself accountable there. Yes, she was trying to work with Penelope to get something she desperately wanted, but she came with a lot more humility than we ever saw in her in previous seasons. And she understood. She didn't try and humiliate Penelope. And you could see she didn't get angry when Penelope had the whistle down delivered to her party, she kind of felt like touche, like you deserve to do this to me,
Yeah.
right? Like
And
I deserve
you know
this.
what I felt like this moment was I have met someone who has allowed me to, because he sees me and he allows me to be me to the extreme. Barbie Dreamhouse Regency era in its
Well,
full.
I've seen stirrings out there that this isn't a love match, it's a lavender marriage, and that's why she gets to have a drawing
Yeah,
room.
I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter to me. She's happy.
She gets to be who she is,
She
yeah,
gets to be
for
who she
sure.
is, and she's happy, she's secure. They seem like they're great friends, even if it is a lavender marriage. I mean, I would take a lavender
He
marriage
seems
over.
supportive of her for this party, so yeah.
Yeah, I take a lavender marriage over like a Danbury situation any day.
For real.
So I'm
If
happy
you
for
have to
her.
be, if you, and I'll say this in the United States too, because like currently I think they're trying to get there where to be safe in this society and to be able to function financially in this society and everything else, that women have to be married. So I mean, there's our Mr. Williams is one of them. Like there's
Yes, yeah.
already gay and he's married, but they're also talking about rescinding the loving thing that allows, although it's been struck down, woohoo, its first round in courts, it got struck down, and same-sex marriage is still legal. They did not succeed, but like there's influencers who are promoting themselves as lavender husbands should it come to that, which I find hilarious.
Not that we're taking it political, but shame on you, Italy.
I don't mean to laugh about it, but sometimes laughing's all you got.
Yeah. Shame.
But
I
yeah,
love
so
the
and
perfect
Cressida and
response. The
Eloise,
perfect response was, I'm snapping my pasta from now on, like as a fuck you, Italy.
I'm breaking my pasta.
Oh.
But Eloise, I mean, it got her there so great, sneaking Sophie in to be able to look at the will. She tricked Cressida, but they still had a real genuine conversation.
They did.
And Eloise got to show Cressida some empathy. And Cressida got to show Eloise that she really did influence her, which I think was huge as part of Eloise's growth too.
I think even more than influence her, I think it was that Eloise realized that for Cressida the friendship was real, and that it was just that her circumstance at the time was dictating her behavior, but the friendship was real, and that she had treated Cressida a certain way, deeming that she was just using her or whatever in the time, or whatever the point was that Eloise thought, was that Eloise was the one who did wrong by Cressida as well, or to start with.
Right. I mean, they both did each other wrong.
Yes.
They
Did
both
Cressida
made
make
mistakes. They're
missteps?
both
Yes.
messy. Yeah.
But that's friendship. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think
Not
that
perfect.
she needed to see that Cressida was a real person as well. So speaking of Eloise helping people in their self-discovery, I want to talk about her relationship with well, not relationship with Posey, but the conversations she has with Posey about choosing herself. And I do desperately wish that we had Posey run into the courtroom and say, I stole the shoe clips. It had nothing to do with Sophie. She was innocent. I take responsibility. And then them having the scene from the book of, well, are you going to arrest your daughter? Are you going to press charges on your daughter? No. Okay, get out of my office. Because they still could have had this entire, you either do this or we tell the Tom that you stole her dowry. You authenticate her legitimacy, or we say about the dowry. The entire plot point would have still been there, but it still would have given Posey the arc of finally standing up to her family. And I think we needed that.
Yes. I think that they split it up the way they did so that because the queen is involved, whereas in the book she wasn't. And they needed us to see that what the queen really wants is a window into the world of her people and entertainment, ultimately, and amusement. And Alice painted this picture. She comes in, she sees this farce playing before her, and she realizes, oh my God, they're all faking it. They're all lying, right? And she finds it hilarious. So I think the shoe clips thing is what they chose to remove to make it be two scenes rather than one, because like the queen is not going to the courthouse, right?
Yeah.
But it would have been nice as a little aside, as a little clip at this point where everybody's in there and everybody knows that everything that just got said is BS, right? The queen's laughing about it and Posey just leans forward.
You know
and
what
says,
though? I think that's why Posey should have been, because Posey is such an iconic person. And I think that she would
I
tickle the
love
Queen
Posey.
pink. I think the Queen would
Mm-hmm.
adore Posey because she is so authentically herself. And I think that they would get along actually really well.
I think it would have been cool since it technically is a different season. If Posey would have said something about the shoe clips with the Queen right there,
Hmm.
and she's already said that Sophie would have made a great diamond, and here Posey can be a diamond, and she goes, you
Yes.
know what, we're just gonna call you guys the gems of the season, and they walk out arm in arm because they are the
Yeah.
Queen's chosen.
Like they didn't need to change it from the book. Like, when the book is already there and it was perfect the way that it was, they could have adapted it so that it took place in the courthouse rather than the jail. I would have been fine with that, but I needed the Posey part
They
to
could have
stand.
dragged, if the Queen was present, they could have dragged the magistrate to the palace.
I wanted that Posey, but like as part of her arc, but it played out fine. It was
Here's my
fine.
thing. I just thought of this, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it just popped in my head. Do you remember all the promo where they said that the Queen finally gets to walk down different hallways?
Yes. What
She
hallways?
was she went to Bridgerton House, and it's normal for her to go to one or two balls a season. She was at the palace the entire season.
And that was like part of the plot device of the entire season was that she was trapped within her own walls. Well, I mean, there's like 3,000. You get my point.
Yeah, so what does that even mean? Like, where's that coming from? Where's it going?
And
Now
how did
I'm thinking.
how did the orangery transport itself from on the Queen's estate to who was it? Was it at Bridgerton House?
Yeah. Yeah,
Transportation
Netflix.
devices.
You think we don't notice? Notice.
Except I actually must say the game of Where's Wally of Where's Sir Philip have not found him yet this season. Very surprising because they said that he was an extra somewhere this season. Chris Fulton was in there somewhere hiding. That may have been a rumor, but I feel like they said that he was an extra in the background somewhere, or at least that was their excuse of why he was set. So I'm like, I haven't found him yet, but if he is there, we will find. I didn't spend my entire childhood.
We haven't analyzed yet. He'll be there.
I haven't spent
He's
my
there
entire
somewhere.
childhood learning the ways of Where's Wally for you to escape my little eyes. I will find you, Chris Bolton.
Where's Philip?
Where's Sir Philip? Is he in the lake saving Marina, but not?
Is he in the olive grove? We don't know.
Oh, hilarious. I just discovered that I have 3 olive trees. My auntie's like, is that olives on your trees? And I'm like, what trees? She's like, those trees. And I was like, oh, nice to know. Clearly I didn't pay attention.
You get to make your own olive.
Yeah, that
You're
sounds like
like,
a lot of work. Yeah, I've got to make some chutney, tomato chutney. That's going to be a thing in itself.
I made when Smaug was here. I made no, I can't call it shepherd's pie because I didn't use lamb.
That's
I
right.
used ground
Yeah.
beef, so
Yeah.
cottage pie.
Cottage
but
pie,
I made it instead of mashed potatoes on top. I just mixed in gnocchi. It was good.
I think you'd call it like a cottage pie casserole kind of situation.
It was very good.
I actually did like a spaghetti bowl with gnocchi as well.
Yep. He was pleased with it. And
Like
I gave him a show because Patty in the kitchen. No, Patty in the kitchen is a very messy cook because she's impatient and she does do alchemy. Like I'm like, oh, this will be good in there and like whatever. But you know those bone broth box stock things that they don't have a clear spout. You have to unfold the top and then like it's supposed to rip open.
Like
well, it didn't rip open.
Situation.
Yeah, it didn't rip open. So I was trying to cut it with the like stab it with the knife and get it to squirt out, but it's not squirting into the pan. It's squirting on my shirt and on the wall. And he's just cackling. He thinks it's the funniest
thing.
Isn't
that what you wanted for your weekend?
That's not the squirting I wanted, but
sorry, people.
But of course he's like, it's just good to see that some things never change.
On that note. Oh, lordy, lord.
And that one was on purpose. Normally I say something and you die laughing and it's like accidental. That one was on purpose.
Oh, for today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there. With Patty having and continue on next week's episode. What's it about? Don't know. Who's it going to involve? Don't know. What season is it?
We don't know.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Anything in particular you would like to share, please head to the Ladies Bridgerton Facebook and YouTube. Enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you're listening to your podcast.
Once again, Once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women.
Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
And Lady Penny.
I feel like I need to change it from Tash to like what's a bird that's lots in. Well, I mean, I'm probably a penguin to be honest. With the way my hips hurt today, I waddle like a penguin. Tash the penguin.
You're like, what's a bird that walks?
Walks like a duck.
Going into season,
talks like a duck.
Going into season 5, you could be a crane. They do fly, but they walk a lot.
I mean, Colin does like to
well, there's that
name.
too.
I'm looking for
what?
Where you name something as the wrong thing. Identify something as the wrong thing. Misidentify. Does like to misidentify birds.
True that.
Tash the Kiwi. And Lady Penny. Ah, the end.